record. So we have this session, and then Jill, I'm going to spotlight you. Over to you.
Woohoo. Is it okay if I share my little old screen here?
Yeah, of course it is.
Here we go. So what I found in the past is if you put me on speaker view and then just shove me to the right of your screen, then everything on this should come through, and it's to keep me on track. So I have so much I want to tell you. I could be here for a week. So I'm trying to hone it down. And as Charlie has already said, collaboration is my thing. I've created the collaboration global community, and I have all my life wanted to connect people and bring people together and help people and make a difference. And it wasn't a surprise when I got to the networking stage of my life in business that I realized that I was very good at putting people together. It's kind of my hidden genius that other people spotted before I did. So to me, collaboration is easy, it's simple, it's natural, it's what I do. But it took me a little while to work out that not everybody finds it that easy. And some people are quite wary, and some people are have been bitten. Oh, I did that, he stole my IP. Oh, I did that, but she took so much of that income from that project, it was ridiculous. And oh, I'm not doing that again. I'm going to protect this. I'm going to make sure I'm all right, Jack. Actually, you're missing out on so much if you go down that road, not only for your business in what you can achieve with your business, but also in what you can get out of it for yourself. So today I just thought I would share basically who, what, why, when, where, and when, without the where, sorry. Why, when, how, what, and who. That's what I'm going to explain to you today. This is why it's useful for collaboration, when you should collaborate, literally how to collaborate, what sort of things you would do, and who you're going to collaborate with, more importantly. So hopefully by the end of this, you will have a little picture of what's possible for you, and you might feel brave enough to give it a go. And if you've given it a go already and you've been burnt, it will give you the courage and the tools to have another go and try again. But also it will help you to see that on the big picture scale of things, in the life scenario of the planet we live in, this has the potential to transform our world. No stretch of the imagination. This literally, when people collaborate in a way that I'm going to explain to you today, not only can it change an individual's world, we can change the planet that we live on. That's my belief. That's how passionate I am about what we are doing. It has so much power. Now, because I have a habit of talking forever, I'm just going to take my watch off and keep an eye on the time. Okay, and I'll crack on. So first and foremost, why? Why don't people collaborate? Well, because we're not taught how to, for a start. The world we live in, if you look back over history, a couple of 1,000 years ago, we would collaborate naturally. It's how we survived. You know, you would be in a tribe and you would support each other through collaboration. But if you go back a couple of 100 years, actually not so common. And what you find is through just trying to think what to cut out and what to say, you find over, say, the last 100 years at least, the education system is predicated on teaching us how to fit in and how to do things for ourselves, how to be on the factory line, how to be employed, how to not think for ourselves, how to do what we are told to do. So people don't collaborate because it's very much, this is my business, this is who I am. If I start working with them, they might take my stuff. This is the fear, scarcity, and competition conversation that a lot of people have out there. They think in the negative before they think in the positive. What's going to go wrong before what could go right? So that's generally why people don't go first port of call, hey, let's collaborate. That's a brilliant idea. They go, yeah, okay, it's interesting. Oh, he might do this, she might do that. This might go wrong, that might go, I'm good. I'll do that stuff. No, it's fine. I know I'm a bit tired and I've got a lot to do, but you know, I'll do it. It's okay. It's like writing a book. How many of you want to write a book? Yeah, you wanted to get that book out there. Why don't you do it with other people? So much easier. So much easier. Let me just give you an example. I've written a book with 17 people, right? 17 people. There we go. If you want to have a look at that. Everyone's written one chapter. So simple. We got to number 2, I think, 2 or 3. I can't remember now. 2 or 3 in the Amazon charts because we collaborated. It's so simple to do. So why are they right to avoid it? Because the world we live in, as I say, fear, scarcity and competition. So you would avoid collaboration because you want to protect yourself. You have to make enough money to pay your mortgage. You have to make enough money to get your stuff, you know, your fancy outfits and your designer gear and your nice car and all that. And it's like this space of what's in it for me is this world that we are in at the moment with social media, with society the way it is, with our general media, newspapers. It's all about buy stuff, buy stuff, buy stuff. So you focus on the logistics and the literal, what will happen. So sometimes you're right to avoid it because you're living in this place of fear and you just don't know what will happen. But if you're looking at what's possible, if you come from a positive space, if you think to yourself, well, maybe, what we could try, what if it worked? What if it actually blooming well worked? What would that look like? Because there's an African proverb out there. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And as Mother Teresa once said, together we can do something truly wonderful. Now, if you come to collaboration with a heart space of how can I help you? Let's help other people as well. Can we create something that will help others as well as ourselves? So we've got a win for me, a win for you, and a win for other people, for humanity. Then it puts a whole other slant on collaboration. And that's why it can save the world. Okay, if you have ever experienced, as we did yesterday at Collaboration Global Session, Business for Good, we had Paul Hargraves talking about the fourth bottom line and how to make a business for good means that you are the fourth bottom line. You have to have compassion, you have to have empathy, you have to have love for the people in your business, and you have to have love for the people you collaborate with. And when that has a ripple effect and it spreads out into the world, you will have a bigger and bigger impact as you go. And it will have a big impact on the world when you collaborate. If you check out B1G1, Charlie's a member as well. It's a charity, but it's helping you to be a business for good. It's an amazing business model. I can probably drop you a link later, unless Charlie's got one handy, to get involved with that, because it's just that pebble in the water, creating the ripples of being a community and a business for good. And then when you connect up with other businesses that have got that same mind frame, that same heart set in their business, then you're going to do great things together. So are you missing out if you don't collaborate? Maybe not necessarily, but let me paint a picture for you. If you meet someone that does something that complements your business, and maybe they know another company that complements both of you, and you share a similar market, you could do a project together and you can make more money. Brilliant. Nothing wrong with that. Money is not a dirty word. But what if you were passionate about your businesses, you wanted to help people in your businesses, and you wanted to help as many people as possible? By coming together, sharing your your databases, maybe sharing your expertise for sure, doing the stuff that you really love to do rather than the stuff over there that you always put off and don't really like doing. What could be created? And when you have that experience and the sharing, and you all talk about each other to your communities, whether that's on Facebook or Instagram or wherever you hang out, more and more people are going to get to know about each of you and what your specialism is, and then it starts to mushroom and grow. So are you missing out if you don't give it a try? Well, in my opinion, whenever I have collaborated and it's been successful, and I have done some that weren't that great, lessons learned along the way, and I'll tell you more about that later. But when you work with someone and it works, and you are doing the bit you're so good at, the bit that you don't mind working at, you don't even care what the time is because you're just having fun doing it, and you go, oh my God, I'm getting paid for this. This is brilliant because every day I could do this. When you're in that space collaborating, when time is immaterial, and you're creating something that is of value and that leaves a legacy, then it's worth doing. You cannot beat that feeling. bringing people together and doing something that's making a difference to the world will fill your heart, and it gives you joy. And that's ultimately what we're here on this planet for, isn't it? To be happy, lead a long and happy life. Yeah, doing something like collaboration, when you know more how to get the nuances and get it right. Although in my world there is no right or wrong. There is just a way to tweak it so it gets better and better and better. And there will always be things to learn. But when you've got the basics right, and I'm going to tell you some of those today, then go in with open arms and collaborate, and you will be amazed at how great you feel. So when should you collaborate? Well, I'm a big one for fate. It's not fate. The universe is doing this on purpose. It's not an accident. There's no such thing as coincidence. Yes, that's all a bit woo-woo, isn't it? I agree. I don't understand it either, but I find that when I'm out for looking for something, wouldn't it be good if I could collaborate with somebody who's great at marketing? Hello, Charlie Wyman turns up. It's as simple as that. All right. The universe provides what you need, but you have to work out, looking at your business, what's the bit that's missing? What's the bit that could be happening? What's my next level up, and who do I need to get me there? That's when the universe starts to provide. And looking at this, I know this is an old one, but it's just so true, isn't it? Opportunity is nowhere or now here. The minute you want to collaborate, and the minute you set your reticular activating system, that part of your brain, when you set it up to look for that thing that's missing or that thing that you want to do, then it all starts, possibilities and opportunities start hitting you from all over the place. If you make that decision and you've meditated on it and you have cogitated on it and you've done a bit of paperwork and you go, this is logically, it's a brilliant idea. Guarantee you go onto LinkedIn and somebody will pop up and talking about it a little bit, and you go have a further conversation. Oh, and then you get to test whether this is the person for you for collaboration. Opportunities will come at you. Possibilities are everywhere. But you can't do a collaboration yet until you know about you. So the when of a collaboration is, please don't go into it unless you've done any personal development. Because you know what? If you don't understand what your triggers are, what sets you off, how are you under stress? Have you got any limiting beliefs? All of those things that you would find out when you've done some personal development, they will contribute positively to a good collaboration. Exactly the same as if you haven't done that work on yourself, then that will be the downfall of a collaboration as well. Because every collaboration has that potential to go down the Swanee. It's not going to work. It doesn't, for whatever reason. I don't know why. On paper, it looks so good, but it went wrong. Quite often, the people in the room have a mountain of limiting beliefs, have triggers all over the place that just come from their past, and they don't acknowledge it, they don't see it, they don't understand it. And all that happens is you end up having this tense atmosphere. You walk in the room and you can feel the energy, and you're like, oh, I'm just not enjoying this. This isn't fun. I don't want to do this. And surprise, surprise, it doesn't work. So collaborations really work when you know who you are. And even if you don't, the other people aren't in as an advanced state as you, you know your limiting beliefs, you know what you're like under stress and pressure, you know what triggers you and sets you off into black nails on a blackboard kind of thing. You can help them. In a collaboration, they might not know these things for themselves, but you can help them point the way. So it's not a dead deal if you're the only one that's done personal development. But you know what? If you all have, so much easier, so much easier. So the when also is, if you're jogging along in your business and maybe you're giving a bit to charity and maybe you're doing some pro bono work and you feel everything's great, there's not a yearning or a need necessarily to collaborate. But when you feel like this, is this it? There's something missing. I just don't know what it is. You know, everything seems to be okay and I'm jogging along and I'm, it feels, but there's something, and you go, I'm not happy. Not sure why, but I'm not happy. That's the missing ingredient, and that's where collaboration can help you. Because when you've got other people around you, you generate accountability, you generate a fun environment, you generate curiosity, you're allowed to be vulnerable, you're allowed to be a bit adventurous and a bit cheeky, You're going to have banter. It's going to be a good space to be. And that's why people are struggling so much working from home, because they miss all of those things when they're connecting to other people. So if you find there's just something missing, think about collaboration. Think about this might be something I can do that is going to make my business grow. It's going to increase my profits. It's going to probably, my turnover will go up. My opportunities are going to increase, and it might take me on to the next level of where I need to go. But don't just do it for the money. I'm not saying you can't do it for the money, but if that is the only reason, then the minute there's a hiccup along the way, it gets very tense. People's energy becomes very toxic when it's just about the money, because everyone has a very weird relationship with money. There's not many people out there that have this kind of spirit of generosity in their world. So yeah, I'm not saying don't do it for the money, but make sure there's something else. There's something for other people. There's something that's a pay it forward scenario in your collaboration. And then when it will be fun. Sometimes you just do a collaboration because like, oh, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on. And you can just jump in with both feet, because you know the people involved, you know the project that you're going to get on, you know you're going to be doing your stuff that you love doing. It's going to be fun. Let's just do it. Oh, we're going to make money as well. Oh, brilliant. Awesome. And you can do it. So that's the when. We've done the why and the when. How? So this is coming out in my next book. We've been my book number 4, and hopefully in June, she said optimistically. And this is where I talk about all of these things. Again, connect to you is who you are. So the first part of the book, and what we talk to each other about in Collaboration Global, is you have to know who you are. What are your values? Now, you might have done an exercise 10 years ago, maybe with the company you worked with then, and you think you know what your values are, but when have you done it recently? Have you checked them? Do you know what they change? It's not with you the whole lifetime. Your values change. What are your top 3? So if anybody's interested, and I haven't got this handy now, but I can send it. I've got a list of about 50 values, and a great exercise is just to look at all of them, and you've got 2 minutes to go down and just circle 15. Yes, that means something to me. That means something to me. That means something to me. And then you take another minute and you look at those 15 and take it down to 5. And you have another minute and you take that 5 down to 3. And then you put them in first, second, and third. And then put them away. Don't think about it. 24 hours later, bring them back out again. And you'll be surprised at the 3 that your subconscious picked out. All right. You were taking it from your gut reaction. And those are the 3 that helps you connect to who you are. And that is also what you're going to use to help you connect to other people. Now, you do not have to have the same values as other people, practically impossible, but they kind of have to talk to each other. They kind of have to mesh and align. This is the word you hear all the time, align your values. And that means having a conversation. So if you've got a potential collaboration, you've got to have that conversation. Well, so what are your values? Give me your top 3. And most people go, oh, So for me, it's love. If love isn't in the conversation, how can I be vulnerable with you if I'm not going to be able to declare that because you're another human being, I love you, might not like you all the time, but I love you and I trust you and I respect you. That's up to you to lose it. So in our collaboration, if we were to collaborate together, love has to be in the center. Then if I'm having a bad day, I feel able to say to you, oh, this has happened, I can't do it today. And the love that would come back would be, no, that's fine. Let's reconvene tomorrow. We'll get it done. It's that kind of understanding and compassion and empathy that love brings to the table, because it's our superpower. So unless you know these things about yourself, what triggers you? Well, I'll tell you what triggers me. It's really, really futile, right? I know this is stupid. And I put it out there because it is stupid. I'm not a great fan of people swearing every other word. I don't mind you swearing in context. I don't mind you swearing for a punchline of a joke for emphasis, but don't say it every other word. Use your words, people. Use your vocabulary. You know, it just annoys me when some people, and you know who they are, they just feel it makes them bigger in order to do that. So to me, if they're doing that, I would have to say that at the beginning. Sorry, this doesn't work for me. I knew a builder who that was his rules for his staff. You come on site, nobody swears. You swear, you're fired. That's it. No second chances. Now, he came and worked for me when my kids were little. And I knew that nobody in his crew were going to be swearing in front of my kids when they were like 5 and 7, something like that. And he was deeply respected by the guys, and he had very loyal people working for him. It's that standard of where you set yourself. And so that's just a silly example, right, for me. But I know me. I know what stresses me out. I know what works for me and what doesn't work. Have you done that work with yourself? So again, the how is aligned values. I've just explained that. Make sure they kind of fit. It feels good. And when you know somebody else's values, so for example, if it's integrity and you think, oh, I'm not really punctual, if I keep turning up late, that's really going to wind them up. Then that might be that you set yourself, go, no, okay, I can do that. That's fine. That's so you understand what's important to them. If you've ever learned about languages of love, it's not dissimilar. If you know what the other person's language of love are, you can accommodate them and you can help them and make them feel loved. Now, the other one, Be More Pirate. If you've read the book, if you haven't, it's awesome, by Sam Alendis, who has written this book called Be More Pirate. In essence, it's telling the history of pirates, but in viewing it from a point of view of how we can take tips from them, because they were the first corporations of their day. Did you know the most successful pirate of all time was a woman? And she looked after, that's the wrong expression, she crewed, she captained, there you go, hundreds and hundreds of ships. And she was the wealthiest woman going. So why were pirates so successful? And by the way, they were employed by the government initially before they went renegade. It's a fascinating book. But what the pirates do and what we say in a collaboration is to be more pirate is set out your pirate code. And we translate that into rules of the game. So when you're going to go and do a collaboration with anybody, we want, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So if you've got, you're going to have maybe 10 meetings to get the project off the ground, if one of the rules of the game is leave your phone in your bag, because it's nothing worse than trying to talk to the room and share what's going to be happening in the plan and somebody's doing this all the time on their phone. Drives me nuts. So it's about paying attention. So it's sitting down with whoever you're collaborating with. And by the way, I define collaboration as 3 people. It's a magic 3 or more. 2 people, just a partnership. And it's not so great because if you're annoyed with the other person, you haven't got a third person to be that middle man. So it's always best if you can have 3 people as a minimum in a collaboration. 5, 10, whatever, it doesn't matter how big it goes, but 3 is your minimum. So be more pirate and set out the rules of the game. And all of these things take a little bit extra time at the beginning of a collaboration. What we don't want is for people to go, oh, they're lovely. Oh, we get on like fun. Oh, I've known them for such a long time. We skip that bit. It's fine. I'm sure their values are the same as mine. I'm sure they don't get triggered. They're so calm. They're lovely. Always funny, but when push comes to shove, everyone's got their weak point. And if you've sat down with rules of the game and you've worked it out, then you find out what people's weak points are. And you stop the problem before it happens. And you actually can spot if they're under pressure or stress, you know how to deal with it. So definitely set up your rules of the game. I also think, and this comes from my many failures of collaboration, that you have to have certain people wearing certain profiles. Now, when I say profiles, please don't be put off. It's not a personality profile. It's not a communication profile. It's not a Myers-Briggs or Enneagrams or disc profiles or any of those you might have come across. It's a profile that everyone has to choose to adopt throughout the project. For example, you cannot start a collaboration unless these 3 profiles are in place. The visionary, see the idea and see where it's going, can have the picture of the whole thing and know what to expect and what the outcome's going to be. The catalyst, and that's the person that kind of brings it together and builds a team for what is needed for the project. And the driver, because I've noted that the visionary is very rarely good at driving. The catalyst is great once the vision's been given to them. And the driver isn't so great at communicating with people, but they will be the ones that say, we need it this day, we need it this day, this is the timetable, and how have you done that yet? So they're your kind of accountability buddy. And further down the line, there are 9 more profiles. I won't go into them now, but again, I can send them to you if you like. Again, it'll be in the book whenever it comes out. But you don't go, oh yes, I'm a visionary, I'll take that role, because you might feel you're a visionary, and that's great. So you take the role. But sometimes you'll be starting off and go, well, I'm not a visionary, and I'm not a catalyst, and I'm not a driver. So you have a skill set, but if you haven't got anybody else, you have to adopt that space. You have to go, well, we don't have a driver, but nothing's going to get off the ground unless I start pushing people. And you take that role, you wear that hat until such time as someone else comes along in the project, and people come and go as projects develop, and they can take that role for you. Another person in one of the profiles is a nurturer. And that's the person that's just keeping an eye out on people. How you doing? You all right? How's it going? I noticed you got a little bit stressed about that. Do you want to talk about it? It's that kind of understanding, empathetic person that will make collaboration go much more smoothly. A little story with one of my spectacular failures. I worked with about 9 or 10 other business coaches, right? Can you imagine? We're all in a room together and we've got a brilliant idea. One of us has got a brilliant idea. And putting business coaches in a room together is like herding cats. And that's the polite version, right? It was tough. It was me and I think it's 9 blokes. So for some reason, they thought I'd be good at taking the minutes. And nobody else would do the minutes, because you had to have some record of who's doing what and all the rest of it. Is, you're doing a project, you need someone to take the minutes. And they kept looking at me and I'm like, well, I'm sorry. I've done it for the last 3 meetings, somebody else's turn. It was that kind of niggle. And what could have been a 6-week project got extrapolated into a year. We had a great product. We had devised something that was pretty unique. We had something that could have been developed into an app. And it was, we were quite happy with it. It took a hell of a long time to get it off the ground, because every time somebody stood up to speak, they ignored what had gone before. It was like, listen to me. This is, you want to do what I'm telling you because I know about these things, as though the others had no experience whatsoever. The ego was slap bang in the middle of the room for every single person. Maybe 1 or 2 didn't do that game, but most of them did. So ultimately, I kind of sat back and went, well, let's see how this is going to play out. So we eventually got to a place where we did a beta for what we were doing. And then after that, wow, that was successful. That was brilliant. Let's rock and roll. So who's going to sell it? Well, the answer should have been everybody. But because I'd asked the question, everybody kind of took 2 steps back as though, well, I'm not doing it. I deliver. That's what I'm the person at the front of the room. I'm going to be showing people about, I'm going to do the workshop, and I don't do the sales thing. So I was like, okay, doesn't get done then. And nobody wanted to save it. Practically a year's worth of work in and out while we're still running our businesses with a product in the hand. And they couldn't do it because there was no salesperson there to go, not necessarily to do the sales, but to organize it so that everybody did it. And that's a profile as well. You have to have that profile in the mix. So we've got a great project. We want to put on a workshop. We want to do a webinar. We want to collate. We want to combine our databases. We want to do who's going to sell it? Well, you all sell it ultimately, but it's the strategy around the sales, same as the marketing. So that's your profiles. And then for a collaboration to be smiled upon by the universe, we have so many problems in the world today that if you do not create something that is a win-win-win, it's almost like, what's the point? Win for you, win for the person that you're doing it with, a win for the collaboration, a win for the client, and a win for the planet. Now, what generally happens when you've got a collaboration going is that you'll create something will emerge that you never saw coming. And it's like that, wow, that's interesting. And you can take that and you can put it onto another project. And that's the pay it forward element. Or you can take some extra income that you got from it that you never saw coming, and you can support and help somebody else, maybe pay it to a charity or whatever. But there is a pay it forward element from every collaboration. And when you review the collaboration, as you would do normally with any project you do, what went right, what went wrong, then you can take the gold from that and pay it forward. The what. Identify what you don't want to do alone. So what reasons would you have for doing a collaboration? Identify the bits in your business that you don't want to do alone. I am not a techie person, so I'm always asking people to support me with tech. I've developed my little mini dream team. So there's 3 of us and we do that kind of stuff together. So what don't you want to do alone? What ideas do you have that are too big for you? I really want to do that. It's like, that's like another lifetime. I can't envisage myself doing that. Well, not on your own, maybe. If you had 2, 3, 5 other people that could be invested in your vision of where you want to go, but also how valuable it could be to them as well, then brilliant. That's a perfect reason to have a collaboration. And what are you missing out on if you just don't try? So many lessons can be learned, even when it fails, right? You've got so many lessons that can be learned that you pay into forward, because failure is just an education in itself. It's not a bad thing. It's just life. It's what happens. And you can take that, grab it with both hands and go, well, I'm never going to do that again, and you can change it. What do you need more of? Do you need more turnover, more profit, more clients, more prospects, more good in the world? Whatever you want to achieve, that's when collaboration is like, yeah, okay, I want more of that. I'm going to collaborate. Right, let's take that and see who can help me. And again, what do you have missing? So sometimes you've got a great product, but you haven't got a community to sell it into. Sometimes you've got an amazing community. They love what you do, but you don't actually have a product that you can pass on to them. So it's like, well, who else has got a product? That's why I love partnerships as well, because you can, I've got this, you've got that. How can we come together? And if you bring in a third person, that's when it gives it life and it gives it dynamics. So as far as collaboration is concerned, it's down to you. You are the leader of any collaboration. Even if you've been invited in and you're the last person to join, look on yourself as a leader, because you now know more about collaboration than a lot of other people. Most people see collaboration as, you've got something I want, let's work together and I'll take it from you. That's the world we live in. But you now know that a collaboration is going to be much more successful if you can pay it forward and help each other. So you are the leader. And you need to be a collaborator and have collaboration in action in order to make that difference. And you can make a difference in collaboration when you adopt this mindset. These are all the mindsets that we talk about in our community. Just as Charlie does, curiosity. You have to have that. Why? What if maybe having that space and being curious about everything will help you in every collaboration. Generosity of spirit as opposed to spirit of generosity. We're taking it that you're around people that are generous, have a spirit of generosity anyway, for their time, for possible finance, however it happens to be. But generosity of spirit is you giving your energy and your love to that other person so that they feel brave enough to be curious. They feel brave enough to be vulnerable. They feel they have enough, there's a generosity in the room where they can try stuff out. They can think from a different place, and that's when all the magic happens. So you have to provide, or the people in the room provide, that generosity of spirit, so people don't feel that if they say something, have you thought about doing whatever, and everyone goes, what do you want to do that for? That's ridiculous. There's no generosity in that room. And the next time you go, that's the thought, I'm not going to say that because last time they had a go at me, so I'm not going to do that. So you need to have a sense of fun, because if it's not fun, what's the point? We want to have a giggle. Free thinking. You had all the money in the world, what could you do? If you had no money in the world, what would you do? So it's that kind of big expansive space of thinking. Being creative. I mean, I am not a creative person as such, but I see things in my head that I can describe, and people will then take it and move on with it. So it's being creative. Having the courage to do it. If you're frightened of your shadow, You know, and when I say courage and being adventurous, it doesn't mean you've got to jump out of an aeroplane in order to prove your worth as a collaborator, because you ain't going to ever get me doing that. Okay. But it's the courage to be different, the courage to step outside of your comfort zone, the courage to stretch yourself, the courage to acknowledge that you can be better than you are at the moment, to be your best self. That's when collaborators get together. That's when they support each other and they make a difference to each other. And allowing that vulnerability, that's the mindset. It's like, oh, I can fail. Oh, I can mess up. You don't want to. You're not going to do it on purpose. But you know what? If you're having a bad day, hey guys, this is not a great day for me. But rather than just disappearing and being quiet, explaining why and what's happened. I'm just looking at the time. I'm going to zoom through. So that's it, really. Reflections. Any questions? Anything you need to know? But ultimately, in your business, if you are not collaborating, you're missing a trick. Give it a go, try it out. Ultimately, find out what's missing in your business or where your next step is, and then look on a collaboration as your stepping stone up to the next level. And when you go networking, look for people that are going to fill those gaps, because you're building relationships. Every time you go networking, you're building those relationships with people that are aligned to your values. And when you find them and you collect them, then when you're ready and you go, oh, that's what I need, you've already got those people lined up and they're ready to help you because they've already had that relationship built. So I'm going to stop my share. Let me just check I haven't got anything else. Nope, that's me. Oh no, there we go. This is how I see collaboration. I'll let you read it. Unless anybody doesn't read English, which is a possibility. In which case I'll read it out loud. There we go. You're providing a legacy. Collaboration is really powerful. It's really important. It's a mindset for sure, but at its heart, it's heart set. At its core, it's a heart set. And when you're working in a collaboration, it does dissipate stress because you're having so much fun. Okay. We were born to collaborate, okay? And we've had it pushed out of us. We can relearn it. It's up to you. Okay, thank you guys. That's me. Let's have a chat.
Just to check as well, because I realized that I need to start asking this. Is everybody happy to be on camera? And if anybody is not, please let me know, because I'm recording this. So I'll make the recording available for members afterwards as well. So yeah, if anybody's not, please let me know. And has anybody got any questions for Gill, or do you want to discuss anything that she's talked about? I really like the opportunity is nowhere, or it's now here. That for me is just such brilliant, like it's just really stood out. And then also, yeah, it's a mindset, but it's a heart set as well. I think it's brilliant. Really like that.
Thanks, Charlie. Anybody ever done a collaboration that didn't go so well?
Oh, no, I was just going to say I did one. I was going to say I'd done a collaboration, but it was only with one other person, so it wasn't. But the point I wanted to make was that Be More Pirate was at the core of what we offered. So it was an offering for people transitioning from employment to self-employment, and they grabbed the whole metaphor about, you know, we were a flotilla and we were scraping barnacles off, and they just absolutely loved it and loved the whole thing. It was great fun.
Yeah, I love that kind of thing. It's a brilliant book, absolutely brilliant book. Yeah.
Definitely going to go and pick that one up. I'm doing Linda's course at the moment, and like literally every session is just like, here's an extra 7 books to read.
Yes. Yeah. And don't worry, it doesn't stop either.
I know.
Oh dear.
Brilliant.
Do one a month. That's all you need to do. That's it. Anyone thinking about doing a collaboration? Oh, they've gone all quiet.
I'd love to. I just haven't got any big ideas.
Oh, Okay, well, maybe you need the visionary to set you
Yeah,
off.
yeah, I think that's it. I'd love to work with other people, but yeah, just at the minute, I think because I'm just starting out as well and finding my own sort of feet. But I'm sure it's something further down the line. It'll be something to think about.
I think start thinking about it now, though, because it is about what am I good at, what am I not good at? You know, because a collaboration is basically about complementing what you already do. So for example, a classic collaboration for me was we got the ISO 44001 in working collaborative relationships. So it's the international standard, which sounded very fancy. And I started working with a two, this guy that was his thing, that was his genius, his day job. And he said, look, let's see if we can get this for the community. And I was giving him the information, but it was so complicated and so in depth, and it was so cross-referenced, it freaked me out because I'm not a detailed person. I'm big picture. I'm let me talk and you take the information and that's fine. Don't make me write anything down. And we were going nowhere fast. And a third person came into the mix. And she basically found out what he needed, asked me a question in Gill speak. I translated it into, I said what the answers were. And she kind of put it back and she said that's section 3, subsection 4C/D. Oh, flipping it. And then when we got audited on it, it turned out that we were actually doing more than the audit required. He said that's never been done before. He said in a normal business, they barely tick all the boxes, but you guys are actually going above and beyond. So as a result of what we were doing, it changed the actual standard. So they were adding things in because that's what we were doing as our community. So we paid it forward. There was 3 of us. We all learned from each other. We all had a ball because it was I was learning from each of them, especially in an area that I wasn't good at. I felt out of my depth. So think about things that you love doing, and then think about things that I'm not that good at that. So then when you're going networking or getting out there, just think about, I really like him. We seem to get on really, really well. And he actually does the stuff that I don't like doing. So for me, it's finance. Right? I can look at your accounts and tell you what's what. I don't enjoy it. It's just money isn't important to me. Don't get me wrong, I can spend it like the best of them, but it doesn't interest me. It doesn't light me up. And I get people that are good at numbers see it as a route to everything. They can find out all the answers to all the puzzles through the numbers. So when you find someone like that, it's like, oh, I'm going to keep you close because one day I'm going to need you. So I know who my people are when I want to collaborate. So have you got time now? Can we do that thing that we were talking about? So start planning now on what you might need. But understanding you first is half the battle, isn't it? So when you know, yeah, I love that bit, no one's going to touch that because that's my baby. And then you can find out the other stuff. What do you love doing, Tracy? What's the thing that you really...
I just love working with people. I just love listening. I love having conversations, and I love helping. I love helping and liking to see people move on, and kind of transform and grow.
And how do you overcome. Do that? What's your thing that you do? Remind me.
Coaching and mentoring.
Okay, so you wouldn't want anybody to do that bit. It's like, no, I'm good. That's okay. But sometimes another coach or mentor can complement as well. I did some work with another business coach, and he was all vision and mission, and he loved that. And I'm all communication and over this space, and neither of us like the money side. So we got an accountant in to do that, and the 3 of us gave the clients so much more. Now, of course, you're taking a smaller bite of the cherry, aren't you? You're taking a smaller bite of the pie, but the client gets the best from each of you because you're doing the bit that you love, and then they go and tell other people about it. So you get more business as a result of doing the stuff that you're really good at.
Can I just add something to, I think the way that you've laid out visionary, catalyst and driver is a really, really good way of laying it out. And also not just speaking for myself here, but also speaking for a lot of people that I speak to, is a lot of visionaries need catalysts and drivers, and there's a distinct lack of catalysts and drivers in the space that want to collaborate with the visionaries. And I think there's a real interesting mix there, depending on what it is that you want to get out of that relationship. So like Gill said, it's good to start thinking about like kind of you first, and then also looking at, what gaps do you have, or like how you can fill that need. And then also collaborations are part of the tea in the otter. It's you know, it's a valuable tool that you've got available to you. And I think more often than not, we actually collaborate with others without realizing it. So sometimes it's thinking about what we're working towards, but then taking a step back and just thinking, right, okay, who do I know already that can help me get to where I want to go? You know, what memberships am I part of already? What groups have I joined? Do I know the right people in those groups? Have I spoken to somebody ages ago and just not caught up with them for a while? Yeah, especially, you know, because you were talking about coaching and mentoring, there are a lot of groups and organizations that they do the visionary catalyst stuff, but they need people to do the work with the clients. So again, it's that, like, what's important to you? Do you want to be that business owner doing everything, or could you collaborate with somebody that's doing all the bits that you don't necessarily like doing or want to do, and you can then do your thing? So, and there are lots of organizations out there, but it's that going back to the O in the otter, looking at your objectives, what you're working towards, and then what do you need in order to help you get there.
Yeah, thinking about it, the way you put that, Charlie, it kind of brings to mind that actually I am collaborating and I don't kind of realize it. And I am starting to make those links as well. I mean, I'm part of Collaboration Global and starting to build up those relationships. And today I sat down, I thought, you know what, I haven't talked to a lot of these people. I haven't had a conversation in a long time. So I've sort of actually recontact a lot of people, putting out, how are you doing, you know, fancy a coffee and a chat and all those sorts of things. But I do some coaching for an organization who does leadership training. So yeah, that's a collaboration, isn't it? They're doing all the kind of training and the work, getting the people in, and then I do the coaching. so yeah, actually I am doing it.
Yeah, and that's why it's worth talking to other consultants and mentors as well, because either sometimes they've got too much work on, or you can do a little project together, and maybe 3 of you could put on a webinar, and you invite all of your people together. So and they might have people in their database that they've not actually connected with them very much, and that person in the database doesn't necessarily want to work with them, but hasn't come off of the database, but they might want to work with you, and vice versa. So when you combine all of your databases for a project like a workshop or a webinar, then, you know, you're doing something. You've got to work out your differences. You don't do 3 things, you know, oh, this is what I do, and you all do the same thing. You work out what your complementary skills are, even though it comes under a banner. Like, you know, I had business coach was my banner, but the guy I worked with, he was business coach, but he was vision and mission, and I was communication. So it's understanding the difference for your audience. But we combined, I would work for many of his clients and he would work for many of mine. So it worked out that way.
Communications thing is really interesting, because I think Simon put a post in the Curious Marketing Club earlier about Amy Porterfield's program about building digital courses. Now, again, it's that, like, I always sort of say, go back to the O in the otter, like, look at your objectives, what you want to achieve, you know, because she's digital marketing courses, but again, that's still quite broad. Like, she's very much focused on the sort of B2C model where you're selling courses to individuals. You know, I don't know if she includes a B2B aspect, but the vast majority of programs I've joined and have spoken to other people about are very B2C focused, and there are a lot of B2B people within those courses that are getting very frustrated. It's one of my drivers for saying that this community, you know, I've spoken to a lot of people as well that get frustrated with business coaches because they specialize in one particular zone but not in another. So, like, more kind of like understanding the detail around what that person talks about. So, like, I'm really trying hard to do this in my business around marketing. Like, I'm all about curiosity and exploration, and kind of I do have those focuses around LinkedIn networking and events and things. But if somebody comes to me and just sort of says, right, okay, well, actually I want some help with PR, I can set you out on a path, but I'm not an expert. Same with like SEO and the technical side. But I will say that I'm not an expert, but I can point you in the direction of other people. So I think it's important to try and differentiate, especially, you know, if you're like a business coach in what area, like coach and a mentor. Like, Tracy, you have such incredible skills, like, for what you're saying. It's that, like, you know, really focusing on that expertise, because nobody can be you, nobody has those stories, and it's just an easy way to differentiate yourself.
I mean, this is what's frustrating, isn't it, when you see people trying to flog their course, and it's basically, this is what I've done and this is how I've become a success, so you will too. Not necessarily. It's cookie cutter, isn't it? So that's what I like about the Curiosity Club, is you look at each person individually and help them to work out what is going to work for them. And none of us always know. You'll hit upon it sometimes and go, oh, that's working, I'm going to tune that and work on that. But sometimes you try, that doesn't work, try that doesn't work, try that doesn't work. And you know what's not working? It's probably you, because you're trying it for a week or 2 days or a month, and actually you need to go 3 months, and then you can start see something going on. So it's all sorts of different things come into play. Yeah, I think what you were saying earlier about building the relationships and having those people ready for when once you're clear on your objective, the old otter, then those people will be very, very handy. Also, don't spread your net too far and wide, because that takes up too much time. We haven't got time. I don't even have a coffee with people now. I say, come to a meeting. I've got this thing that goes on once a month. You want to find out a bit more about me, come to a meeting. You'll see it all laid bare. You get a taste. You'll have a brilliant session. You have a brilliant 2 hours. And then if you still like the idea of what we're about, then I'll have a coffee with you for half an hour. That's it. So you can't see everybody like you used to in the old days. You know, when you first start your business, you talk to anyone. And as time goes on, you realize that you've got to let what you put out there on social media speak for you. You can't do it all yourself.
We collaborate, just as an example, because Ronnie is here at the moment. So Ronnie and I collaborate for LinkedIn Local in the Nottingham area. And, you know, it's a really good example. Sometimes, like, I never imagined collaborating with Ronnie on this specific thing. I think the first time I met Ronnie, I was just like, there's something we could do together, I'm sure.
Yeah, ditto for me as well. I remember just talking to you, Charlie, and just thinking, I like this person. We feel this, we say the same things. We've got the same energy. Although you've got a lot more energy than me right now, but anyway, but it's just that sort of good, we both make each other feel good, that sort of boost each other's. And also it's a bit of like that accountability thing for me. It's like, crikey, I've not done so yet, and Charlie's going to tell me off. So it's that accountability for me with working with Charlie. I love that, yeah. So I don't know how we got to, I know, I phoned you up and I picked your brain, didn't I, quite a while ago, about marketing and working for yourself. And then next thing you know, we're working together. So, and that wasn't planned. It just happened to be the right place at the right time. So yeah, thanks, Charlie.
That's what you call a happy accident, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always a bit like having a baby. Like, I think some people plan to have a baby, other people like myself have happy accidents. But also it's that, like, when you're doing certain things, especially at a point in your business that you don't necessarily plan, and you just think, right, okay, well, actually I can't keep hold of everything, or I can't keep doing everything myself, so what can I do in order to make it work? And I think with LinkedIn Local, I think I've been doing it for 2 years, and then obviously Ayrton came along, and I'm like, something's got to give. And then Ronnie was interested in sort of taking it on and supporting that. And then obviously when lockdown came, we sort of came back together again to sort of bring it back online. So, sometimes collaborations can come together, move apart, come together again. It's, it doesn't always have to be a structured.
No, I think it's the energy thing. When you feel like it's right, it really is right. I had one collaboration that somebody introduced me to this guy. I said, oh, you really should talk to him. He's going to be really valuable for you. I'm like, oh, I haven't got time. All right, then. I kind of owed this guy a favor. So this chap came on and he's talking to me. And he's like, so tell me about you. And I'm like, no. I haven't got time for that. I was quite rude. And it's like, just tell me, come on, tell me what, because I thought he was just going to sell me something. I really thought he was just going to flog some stuff to me. And he'd talked for about 5 minutes, and I was like, have you been spying on me? Because everything he was saying is stuff that I say. It's like, it was almost verbatim, and I couldn't believe it. So I was like, keep talking. I said, well, I can listen to you all day now, because what you're saying is exactly what I say to my clients, to my associates, and all the rest of it. And it just was like, and I knew at that moment that it was right. And as time's gone on, his generosity of spirit is so vast. He's been able to, help me and work with me and support me. He's connected me up to some amazing people, and he's just been so generous with his time and his knowledge and his experience. He's like 12. I mean, this guy is like, that's not true. He's 36, but he feels like he's 12. But he knows so much. And it's the energy is great, and it just felt right from day one. We have still gone down the route of be more pirate, rules of the game, and checking values and all the rest of it, but it was just to kind of cross the T's and dot the I's. It just felt right, so that we had that conversation, and we've been so honest with each other that it's refreshing that another person now I can rely on 100%, and I know he won't let me down. So it's yeah, it's feel that energy, just what Ronnie was saying. It's like it felt good, it felt right, you know.
I'm not sure if it's in the Be More Pirate book, but a boss of mine from a few years ago said to me once, just like, Charlie says, you know, seek forgiveness, don't ask for permission. And for me, that was a real big game changer, because I do like to break the rules every now and again. And I was just like, actually, that's a really good attitude. And a client of mine that I'm working with at the moment, they've just done they're a tech startup doing a massive values exercise. And that's one of their values. They encourage their entire team, they've got about 250 staff working for them, to seek forgiveness, not permission, because they know that that is the route for innovation, and that's the route for them to be able to do more. So
providing it's done with a good heart, and you know it's kind of done from a good place, rather than like, oh, don't care.
Oh yeah, always got to come from a good place.
I like that one as well. Yeah, perfect.
Brilliant. Michael.
Yeah, Charlie, just a word on the word. Those who can remember, the word collaboration was used up until lately as the bad things you used to do with the enemy.
Yeah.
I've spent most of my working life in working with American companies, and so that word has been around for a long time. It's a natural to me, but it's nice to know that it's been rehabilitated and now is a norm for people to do. We've always been doing for a very long time without necessarily having a good word for it, working as a team and so on. It's nice to hear that you've got a process and a method approach so that people can see, is this going to work and how and so on. So that's very, very encouraging. It's useful. It's good to hear. Collaboration is okay now, huh?
Yeah, I'm reclaiming it for sure. We did a little while ago have our supporters, different people that supported us when we did the face-to-face meetings. We called them accomplices. And a friend of ours went, no, that's too far. You've got collaborators, you can't have accomplices. It's just, it's the wrong connotation. So, all right then, it's a bit too. But I want to reclaim collaboration, because I think it's something that we all do naturally, and I think the world around us is trying to make us go, no, you're all right on your own, protect yourself, look after yourself, check your back, make sure nobody's going to stab you in the back. And it's not, no, you know, just go for it. And I think the more you do, the better. The more you try, you'll get 10 wins for one fail. But the more you know about how to and just tweak it as you go, it's going to get better and better, and it's such fun.
And it is a heart set as much as a mindset. That's a good
yeah,
word too.
Absolutely.
And fail fast as well, because if you fail fast, you can learn quicker, and then it's a much faster way of moving forwards.
Yeah.
I always think, don't be afraid of failure, because failure is actually really good. Because the sooner you fail, the more you know that that's not actually going to work. And that's
if you're in a safe space, if you're in a collaboration with a group of people that you trust, really, really trust, and the love is at the center of it, if you fail, everyone's like, oh, well, hey ho, let's all, what have we learned from this? You know, no recriminations, no like, how dare you, or there's no shame to what you've done. It's great, we've learned something, let's move on.
And also, like, just to reiterate, like, the Curious Marketing Club, collaborate with other members of the Curious Marketing Club. You know, it doesn't have to be formal, it doesn't have to be, you know, anything pre-thought out, predetermined or anything. It could just be, go to the members list in the portal, have a look at the different members that are in here, look at their about sections, have a coffee, have a chat, you know, just share ideas, talk about what's going on in your business, or even just, you know, check in.
Yeah, indeed.
You know, we have a really great community in this club, some amazing people, some phenomenal levels of experience that none of us all talk about very often. So yeah, dive into that, and you know, it's great. Brilliant. Well, on that note, we are 1 minute past 3. You know, I hope you will all agree that this has been a wonderful session with Gill. Gill adds so much value, as always. Thank you so much for coming and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
And very happy to give you a little heads up that next month's guest masterclass is with Anne Roger, who is going to be talking a little bit about customer research and data. So right up Jenny Street, definitely. But also really interesting. Anne has got like great experience and great stories to tell, so that'll be really good. Looking forward to it. And if anybody hasn't done a guest masterclass and you want to, please let me know. So because we are, I've been writing down names for the rest of the year. Yeah, the year is booking up. So brilliant. Well, have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week. And if there's anything I can support you with, please let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye, guys. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.